Everyone is telling you Claude Code can replace your entire automation stack and you don't need n8n anymore. And if you believe that, you've probably spent hours of debugging automations that should have taken minutes. Here's the truth. Those demos work because they use popular APIs like Slack, Gmail, Google Sheets. But even the best AI models today still hallucinate in about 30% of the cases. That means they make things up. Endpoints that don't exist, parameters that are wrong. Look, I use both tools every single day. Claude Code for building and researching, n8n for automating. After months of testing, I know exactly when to use which tool. And in this video, I break down the 3 types of tasks you should never give to Claude Code and when you should actually use it. The first type of task I would never give to Claude Code: simple automations. You've seen those demos. Someone opens Claude Code, types build me an automation that sends new leads to Slack, and 2 minutes later, it works. And honestly, that's real. For simple stuff with well-known APIs, Claude Code is fast. But here's what those demos don't show you. They always use popular APIs. Slack, Google Sheets, Stripe. APIs with perfect documentation that every LLM knows and seen millions of times, even in training. But the moment you need something less common, a niche CRM, original payment provider, a custom webhook, even if you use the best AI models available on the market today, they still hallucinate in 30% of the cases. And for niche APIs with less documentation, it's even worse. Common mistakes are the endpoint doesn't exist, the parameters that get sent to the endpoint are wrong, and the worst part is Claude won't tell you. It will just run it. And for simple things, he will even be able to fix them. But it even gets worse. Some of these APIs charge per call. That means every failed test hits your bill. Do you really want an AI agent to test that? And here's why this happens. Claude Code builds every integration from scratch. Every time. It reads the documentation, if it can find it, and generates the code. n8n works completely different. Behind every n8n node for the integrations is an HTTP call that has been written, tested, and maintained by the n8n team. That means authentication, error handling, logging. It's all built in. You don't even have to think about it. And then when an API changes, the n8n team updates this node. You don't even notice this. That's the difference between using a platform and starting from zero. The second type, automations that need to keep running. Building the automation is step 1, but running it, that's a completely different game in Claude Code. When something works on your machine, you feel done, but you're not. And depending on your setup, you're maybe only 30% done. Because now you need logging, you need error handling, and you need to know when something breaks at 2 a.m. You need hosting, you need to survive your server restart, and here's what nobody tells you. There are thousands of edge cases that you're not thinking about when you're building it. In n8n, you don't have to think so much, because a lot of the things that you need are already built in. Every single execution in n8n is logged. You see exactly what went in, what went out, and where it failed. Other things that are built in are retry logic, scheduling, version history, and so on. With Claude Code, you build all of that yourself. And the problem is, Claude Code won't add anything of that unless you explicitly tell it to. It's focused on your tasks, not the infrastructure around your task. You forgot to say add logging? Good luck fixing any errors without logging. In contrast, if something breaks in n8n, you open the workflow, you see the node that is highlighted in red, you click on it, you see the exact error, you fix it, and in 3 minutes you are done. But if something breaks in Claude Code, you open the terminal, you look for logs, if they are available, you try to figure out which part of the code failed, you ask Claude to fix it. Claude changes something, you just click accept, and now something else is broken. And it gets even worse. If you activate accept everything, Claude suggests something and it gets accepted. But one or multiple of these choices shouldn't be accepted. But you didn't review it, and suddenly you're trying to debug something you didn't even know it was changed. Honestly, I done it myself. But there is a difference between prototyping something, quick and fast, and building something for production that needs to run reliable. And if you want to build something reliable, n8n is still the tool of my choice, especially because of hosting. In n8n, I just click publish, and it runs. Done. With Claude Code, you need to figure out where to host it. Vercel, Railways, AWS, or your own VPS. You set up the deployment, the environment variables, the process management. And what happens when your server restarts? Does your automation come back up? Who knows? You can do all of this. No questions asked. But that's hours of work for something that should be a click of a button. If your automation needs to run every single day and you don't want to build your own infrastructure, then use n8n. That's what it was made for. But let's say you use Claude Code anyway. You've built it, it's running, and it's stable. But here's the real killer. What happens if it's not you who needs to fix this, but one of your employees or your client? And the third, this is the one nobody talks about. Automation someone else needs to touch. You're not always building for yourself. Maybe it's for a client. Maybe it's for your team. Maybe it's for a VA who needs to check on it when you're on vacation. And the moment someone else needs to touch your automation, everything changes. Because if they can't understand it, they can't fix it. And if they can't fix it, every single issue comes back to you. You're not a business owner anymore. You're a bottleneck. Hand someone an n8n workflow. They see the boxes, they see the errors, they see what goes in, what goes out. Even a non-technical person can look at it and understand the general flow. They can even make simple changes. Swap an email address or change the Slack channel. Now hand someone a Claude Code project. They get a folder or a GitHub repo, Python scripts, config files, maybe even a Docker setup. They have no idea what they're looking at. And it's not just about reading it. It's about also fixing it. When something breaks in n8n, your client clicks on the red node and sees the error. When something breaks in Claude Code, they call you. And here's the deeper problem. Once an automation gets complex, and they always do, you need real technical knowledge to maintain it. Edge cases pile up, dependencies change, error handling gets messy. Whoever takes over your Claude Code project needs to be as good as you, or even better. Your client isn't, your VA isn't, and honestly, even another developer will take hours to understand what you produced before they can change a single line of code. In contrast with n8n, the visual interface is your documentation. You open it, you see it, you get it. So if anyone other than you needs to touch this automation, a client, a teammate, anyone, use n8n. Except you know exactly what you're doing. This one point alone should decide the tool. So does it mean Claude Code is useless? No. So when does Claude Code actually make sense? Here's my rule. If a tool already exists what you need, use it. A SaaS, a plugin, an n8n node, it doesn't matter. Use it. I know what you're thinking. But Claude Code can build it for free, can it? Your time isn't free. Your debugging isn't free. The $2 a month subscription isn't free. And every edge case you didn't think of isn't free either. The people who built that SaaS, they spent years of thinking of those edge cases, so you don't have to. For example, I run a Shopify store, right? And yeah, I could build my own e-commerce platform, no problem. But honestly, e-commerce has so many details you don't think about. Accounting, compliance, tax rules that changed by countries, checkout edge cases that took Shopify years to figure out. I don't want to deal with any of that. I'm happy to pay Shopify so I can focus on what actually matters. The product and the selling of the product. That's it. And this applies everywhere. The tools exist so you don't need this deep domain knowledge. That's what you're paying for. Not the software. The expertise baked into it. The only time it doesn't apply? When cost for a software is a real factor in your project. And honestly, that's rarely the case. I never heard somebody saying, man, if I wouldn't pay for the HubSpot subscription, we would be widely profitable. That's why Claude Code wins when the thing you need doesn't exist yet. No SaaS for it, no plugin, no n8n node. Nobody has built it yet. I mean, like, honestly, think about it. There are open source software available, but people are still paying for the cloud subscription because they don't want to deal with the details. That's why Claude Code wins when the solution you're looking for doesn't exist yet. Before Claude Code, your only option was to hiring a developer. And developers are expensive. 50, 100, 200 bucks an hour. That's pretty normal. Claude Code changed that equation. A developer using Claude Code is dramatically more effective. What used to take a week might take a day. That's real savings. If you try to do it yourself without zero experience, you're much slower. You make more mistakes. You accept code that you don't understand. And the end result? It's not going to be what you needed. Don't get me wrong. You will get amazing results compared to a beginner who don't use Claude Code at all. But the beginner will never achieve the same results using Claude Code as an expert using Claude Code. And with expert, I mean mainly the technical background that they have, not the knowledge about Claude Code itself, what can be learned pretty quickly actually. So the decision is simple. Does a tool already exist for what you need? Use it. It's cheaper, tested, and maintained. Does it not exist yet? Use Claude Code. Build it. Need both? Do a hybrid. Now, if that answer is so simple, why is everyone telling you Claude Code replaces everything? You see these videos everywhere. Claude Code replaces everything. n8n is dead. You don't need any other tool. And you wonder, am I missing something? Is everyone else right? Here's actually what's going on. And this is what most viewers don't realize. Claude Code replaces everything is the strongest possible claim you can make right now. The more absolute the statement, the more you feel like you have to click on it. That's not an accident. That's how content works. I'm not saying that content is bad. A lot of it is genuinely useful. But the take, use both tools depending on the situation, doesn't go viral. Nuances don't go viral. And here's what none of those videos will tell you. The game was never about writing code fast. If speed of writing code was a game, big companies with hundreds of engineers would dominate everything. But they don't. The game is about domain knowledge, understanding the problem deeply enough to solve it properly. Claude Code makes you faster at building, but it doesn't make you smarter about what to build. That's the difference. If you decide Claude Code is the right tool for you, how you set it up matters more than anything. Most people just start typing. No structure, no plan. I have a system I use before every single Claude Code project, and I'm breaking it down in my next video. Subscribe so you don't miss it. See you in the next one.